Hi everyone, today I'm launching a new series of videos. In this new series, I'll be covering a range of technical interview questions, and we will also start off by solving some of the most common and important coding interview questions. I'll also try to cover the tips and tricks that's involved when doing such technical interviews. And before we get started, let me actually cover some of the basics of preparing for technical interviews. Here's 5 tips for you to get started. Number 1, preparation is key. Of course, preparation is number 1 on the list, but what matters even more is how you prepare. So my advice here is to ensure that you have a systematic approach towards preparing for your technical interviews. The first step is to identify the major concepts in data structures and algorithms. For example, arrays, linked lists, trees, depth first search, sorting, all of these are focus areas on their own. Next, we go to platforms such as LeetCode and HackerRank, and of course my upcoming videos as well. This will actually give you a wide range of questions that you can be prepared for. But it's almost impossible to prepare for everything by practicing every single question. The trick here is to identify ways of solving these questions and master that. An example, the sliding window approach is a common algorithm that you can use to solve problems. So refer to resources such as the Tech Interview Handbook and Geeks for Geeks, and I will also leave some links below that you can actually check out in your free time. Number 2, don't memorize. Please do not memorize approaches or questions, because I've conducted a couple of technical interviews where it's so obvious that the candidate has memorized a solution. But that simply shows that it is an immediate red flag for me, because the goal of the interview is to actually evaluate a person based on their problem solving skills. It's not about just getting the answer right, but it's also about how they got to the answer. So during technical interviews, candidates definitely need to emphasize and vocalize a few things. And these include clarifying the requirements of the given problem, deconstructing the problem, thinking of the various approaches starting with usually a brute force solution, and optimizing the space and time complexities. Number 3, be a master of your tools. When preparing for technical interviews, the right tools makes a difference. For me, Python, the coding language, is my tool. It's my strength as I know which methods and which data structures are available in Python, and I even know the time complexity and the various method calls. For example, if you're going to sort a list in Python, you should be able to pinpoint what kind of sorting algorithm Python uses and what is the time complexity of it. So in this case, Python, to sort a list, it actually uses a modified timsort algorithm with a time complexity of O n log n. It's not necessary to use Python, but it's best to use a language that you're most comfortable with, be it C, C++, Java, Scala, Go, Swift, or anything else. Make sure to be familiar with the method calls and the relevant libraries and techniques that you can use. Be a master of your weapon or the tool. And this is crucial because in a technical interview, it is rare that you can actually run your code in an IDE to debug it. And you are expected to actually analyze your own code for your errors and bugs. However, if you're just starting out and if you need an opinion on which programming language to use for your technical interviews, I would strongly suggest using Python. And I will also leave a link below to one of my videos where I explain why Python would be a great language for your technical interviews. Also, because in technical interviews you are expected to analyze and scrutinize your own code, using an IDE to practice is not ideal. I would suggest to use a simple code editor like a Notepad++ or even TextMate on Mac to help you practice. And this will actually help you to prepare for the interview setting. Tip number 4 is to brush up on your system design. A software engineer builds systems, and most often you're going to build for scale, and system design is crucial in this aspect and you should be prepared for it. Perhaps this might not be really relevant for a junior level or entry level, but I would say this is a must-have for a mid-level or above. To ace system design interviews, there are a couple of things that you should need to take into account. So you should be thinking about things like, what is the front end, what is the back end, how does the front end and back end communicate, what are the APIs that's required, what is the database that you will be using, how you should structure the database, and how we can actually apply some of the solid principles when designing the system. How can the system scale with the number of users, and how do you overcome single points of failures in this system? So these are some guiding questions and tips when it comes to designing a system. And of course, the design needs to be optimized and relevant to the given system you're designing. There's no one solution fits all. So that's for system design interviews. Tip number 5 is confidence and communication. You should be able to impress with your confidence, and you can be the smartest person who can solve the problem, but if you're missing that confidence, be it in your body language or your conversations, you cannot communicate effectively with your interviewer. So learn to communicate your thoughts confidently, and if you're unsure of your next steps, always trace the problem from the roots. Vocalize your thought process and speak aloud, and this allows the interviewers to jump in and help you if you're on the wrong path or if you have actually misunderstood the question. It's normal to be stuck at times, but being quiet and not expressive about your thought process only harms you because the interviewer doesn't know how to help you anymore. So the more vocal you are, the more you are able to share and demonstrate about your skills and strengths to the interviewer, and that too in a very short span of time of maybe 1 hour, right? So I hope you found this video really useful and practical, and if you did, be sure to give me a thumbs up and do subscribe below for more upcoming content. I'll be covering a lot of technical interview questions in the coming videos, and if you'd like me to cover any specific question, do drop me a comment or even send me an email. So I've also started a Telegram channel where you can keep up to date with my latest videos, and be sure to subscribe to that as well. So I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you. Bye.